Today is Wednesday, August 6th, 2025, and it is 10:01. And I'll go ahead and call today's Arizona Real Estate Advisory Board meeting to order. Do we have a quorum?
Yes.
We do?
Yes.
All right. And do we have anyone new that needs to be introduced, or is everybody, or should I go around the room and do introductions like usual? Let's go ahead and get that started. We'll do that in-house first, in person. Start from my left over here.
Is that Rhea?
Yeah. Okay.
It is.
I'm like, where are you at? I can't see you.
Hi.
There you go.
I'm Rhea Hendrickson. I'm the office administrator for the Department of Real Estate.
Hi, I'm Mandy Neat. I'm the deputy commissioner.
Hi, I'm Vivian Nunez. I'm one of the settlement officers for the department.
Amy Gibson, the commercial seat chair member.
Susan Nicholson, commissioner.
Ellie White, board member.
Patrick Rapp, citizen board member.
Kelly Harrington, board member.
Matt Cody, board member.
Oh, and Aaron's here too.
And Liz Racchia.
Hi, Aaron.
Hi, good morning.
Hi,
And Liz Recchia.
is there anyone else in the room?
Liz Recchia, assistant commissioner.
All right, thank you. All right, let's go online. Let's start with Ms. Jackson.
Good morning, everyone. Judy Jackson, advisory board member.
All right. Ms. Humphrey.
Good morning, Faye Humphrey from beautiful Prescott. I am the designated broker owner of KMF Real Estate, as well as the administrator owner of the Northern Arizona Real Estate Institute, and I am here as a member of the public.
All right, thank you. Ms. Sarga.
Hi, thank you. Good morning, everybody. Jenny Hogan Lizarga with Hogan School and ASRAB, and I am just a public member.
All right. Ms. Shipley.
Good morning, everyone. Christine Shipley. I'm an advisory member. I'm also representing the Arizona Multi-Housing Association, and I am the broker and president of Dunlap and McGee Property Management.
All right, thank you. Ms. Munoz. All right, here none. Mr. Friedman.
Jacob Friedman with Long Realty. I'm a licensee.
All right, thank you. Ms. Lowe. All right, hearing none. Ms. Schuman. All right, did I miss anyone? All right, with that said, the prior meeting minutes are available at ADRE's YouTube channel. The link's available on the posted agenda. If anyone has any questions or needs direction to that link, feel free to reach out to staff. Any questions on that?
No.
Here and none. Next item, advisory board member reports. Let's go ahead. Rhea, can you go ahead and get it started? That way you could call them in order, how you want to do it.
Oh, Amy?
It's because Amy provided a report.
There you go.
There's 2 pages just for those who are analytical and want to actually read that. But if you flip to the back side, we're just going to cover the chart, which is just the quick. So just a general for the last 2 quarters of 2025, what's happening in the office, industrial, retail. Office, the vacancy rates are averaging about 24%, which is pretty high. This is across the valley. If you're in the East Valley, that's like almost a negative number. It's a very low, maybe 5% vacancy for office, but in general, it's about a quarter. Absorption rates are at about 17,500 per square feet. Rent levels are at about $30 a square foot. And the repurposing of buildings is the steady demand from legal to healthcare. Industrial, we're looking at 12 to 13% vacancy rate. That's in general, including all of the 100,000 plus square foot industrial down to the 2,000 square foot spaces. The smaller spaces, though, again, the vacancy rate is almost 0. It's probably at a 2 to a 3% vacancy rate. Absorption is 6 million square feet leased with 4.1 million square foot absorbed. And the average is about $1 a square foot a month, give or take. And then retail, we're looking at about 5% vacancy rate, stable, modest, rents increasing about 7% year over year, and a lot of value add. So that's kind of the darling of the industry right now for people to buy, redo, or, put lipstick on a pig, make some money, that kind of stuff. So that's a general report. If you want more specifics, feel free to read through each one of those. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I'm getting some complaints from agents that I know who are tenant advocate, property manager type agents. And they're concerned because the clients are being asked to provide non-refundable earnest money prior to seeing the lease. So when the lease comes out, there are terms that are not acceptable to said client. Now they can absolutely back out, but that earnest money equal to 1 month's rent, which we know what that's going for right now, is really causing financial hardship. And someone also brought it to my attention, this goes on in the new build world. I don't do new builds, so I'm not really, able to comment on that. But again, in the new build, they put this earnest money down long before they ever see a lease. And it doesn't really sound like it protects the public to me.
That's bad. Interesting.
Okay, interesting. Thank you.
I have a follow-up to a subject I brought up at the last meeting regarding the credit trigger leads. I talked about how people would get unsolicited offers. Well, the Senate just passed that bill and it's waiting for the president's signature. After 6 months, they will no longer exist. They finally won that battle. So no one knows when it was going to be signed, but it happened on August 2nd. The things that I'm hearing from people as complaints, just conversation about what's going on in real estate, is seeing a lot of clients that once they purchase a home, they're getting just an absolute blizzard of letters purporting to be something that the buyer must do. And I'm actually gathering those. I've got clients who are keeping those so I can provide those later. I've got a few of them, but regarding warranties and those types of things, and they're pretty poorly worded. Some of them are, skirting things. I don't know what can be done about it, but it's just an awareness thing, including companies sending out texts to some of my clients, purporting to be, related to government agencies. Yeah. So I'll look at her face. So
I had this complaint yesterday.
What's that?
Wow.
Someone called and complained yesterday thinking it was the Department of Real Estate and her license was at risk. And it was not the Department of Real Estate. And we went through that process. So
Yeah, I'm talking about,
Yeah.
in this case, people calling themselves using lending acronyms that we would all know and saying, you've been officially approved, this kind of thing, as text messages. I've got copies of that. So I'm gathering all that stuff together. But the other thing that I have is an agent who was sharing with me that she had concerns about how things were going with these subject to letters. She's got one off property that got over 10 offers as subject to, just someone's going to take over the mortgage without actually, that kind of thing, and do something. They're referring to something called subtitle, which of course is crazy. And I don't know if people know enough about the dangers of what that is, when it comes to the mortgage side of it. But the agent asked me to share. She sent me every single email that she's gotten. So if you want those, I will get those to you.
Awesome. All right. So I'm on the residential side, mainly in Pinal County, but what we're seeing is with all the buyer broker changes from NAR settlement, there's still a lot of confusion and there's unrest. A lot of buyers are scared. They don't trust agents right now. They don't want, because there's misinformation. Some realtors are making them sign like a 1-year buyer broker agreement for all of Arizona, not realizing. And so then they get stuck with that agent. There's a lot of forums I've been reading that buyers want to be unrepresented now, which is dangerous too. So I think, the continued education for our clients as well as realtors. I've personally not had issues with it because I sell real estate regularly. So I've had this, conversation with all my clients, and all of my buyers are comfortable with the buyer broker agreement. And, I tailor it to kind of their specific needs and their comfort level. But just knowing that that's an option, like you can ease their fear a little bit on that. So that's still happening. Our market right now is pretty stagnant. It's definitely a buyer's market. Inventory levels are increasing. Prices are decreasing pretty steadily, not falling, but like they are definitely on the downturn right now, at least in Pinal. I don't know how it is up in Phoenix, but there's not many buyers out there that are pulling the trigger right now. Everyone's waiting for rates to go down, hoping it's going to happen. I've been trying to educate people that right now you should buy if you are in that position because you have the negotiating power. But it's still, you know, sellers are frustrated. We've also been seeing an uptick in unethical realtors that they're just trying to close a deal. And so they'll do anything shady to kind of misinform their clients into signing certain documents. Or we had an agent that in our office, it wasn't her client, it was a friend of hers, but went to see a new build and an agent went with him and just to, you know, help him. So he thought he was just signing the registration book. Turns out he signed a listing agreement with the agent that brought him there, locking him into a 1-year listing agreement. Next thing you know, he sees a sign in his yard. He's like, I didn't agree to sell my house. So now he's consulting a real estate attorney. I'm like, how can you ethically get someone to sign something like this? So there's a bit unrest right now in the residential world. So we're all just kind of like hoping, waiting, things are going to turn around, but every deal is hard. People are emotional right now. It's just, it's weird. It's, you know, so anyway, that's my
Nothing really exciting on the new home sales world other than the market's just a little choppier than it's been and keeping us all a bit more entertained, but nothing to report like we've heard here.
Online, Judy, do you have any updates? Oh,
yes, I do. Thank you. So I have just 2 clarifying questions that I have. So I've gotten a few calls in the last couple of weeks regarding realtors holding raffles at their open houses. Can you please tell me the exact rule on that, please?
Sure. That's AAC R428503. You're looking at sections A and B. And I don't unfortunately have it memorized verbatim, but that's where it is on promotional activities.
Okay, so repeat R438-503.
R4-28 503.
503. Okay, and then my next question. What is the process for ADRE to notify real estate agents when there's a new rule or regulatory changes that it may affect them?
When the only thing that we can really speak to is historically when we had our omnibus package go through the Senate, House, and get signed by the governor, we did every kind of blitz that we could. So I believe we sent out emails, we updated social media, and everything else. We do have a quarterly newsletter that I'll update you guys on. So in the future, you'll also see it in a quarterly newsletter. We'll update our social media accounts. And, you know, if the rules package goes all the way through, then we would probably send an email to every single licensee to say, you need to pay attention. There are substantial changes in the 5-year rule review. So we use all of our communication channels, Judy, when we have changes to rule or law.
So is there any way that maybe you can include like the local associations in or that so that we can get the notice out to our members?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Anything else, Ms. Jackson?
And that is it. Thank you.
Good. All right. Who else do we have online? Rhea or Mandy? That it? Or
I was just going through the. Christine.
yeah. There you go. She's
Good
up.
morning again. I appreciate the inclusion, but I have nothing additional to report.
All right. Thank you.
And Charlie?
Charlie, I saw him log in already. So Charlie, do you have anything to report on?
Nothing to report.
All right. Thank you for joining us.
And you?
And who?
You?
Oh, me. Been kind of quiet too. So out in the Yuma area, haven't heard a lot of complaints, which I guess is good. You do hear both sides of it, where people are still adjusting to the changes. I tend to think that I've heard more positive, that agents are more adjusting on how they explain to sellers and to buyers how the new forms are and so forth. So there's still training to be done, but I think a majority of agents, I think, have adapted, and it's just a matter of educating the public, like you mentioned earlier, to continue that. We are seeing a lot of questions being asked about licensees and processes in regards to an agent being a loan officer and also being an insurance agent or a real estate agent, and like a one-stop shop, how all that factors in with disclosures and all that. But that's the same old questions we've had for a while. We've seen enough increase on that, at least in our area. But that's about it on my end. I know the department's working in partnership with stakeholders and some other projects, and I'll let the commissioner speak to that, give her update. But that's it on my end. So with that, if no questions, we'll move on to department real estate reports.
Great. Well, we are up to our eyeballs in the procurement process for the new IT solution. We had 14 total bids. I can't even explain the amount of lift when you're a small team of people and you need all of your subject matter experts in the different areas that interface with the system. And each of the 14 proposals is, I don't know, let's pick an average of probably 75 pages long, some of them much longer, some of them a little bit shorter, a lot of technical language. To say that it was a joyful process would be a lie. It was awful. But we did it, and then we met. The state has a very well-defined procurement process, and right now we are under sort of a veil of confidentiality. We're not allowed to release any information yet until the procurement process is done and an award is given. But I can say I feel much better knowing that there are viable solutions for the future IT solution for the Department of Real Estate. So that's no longer our, that will hopefully not be on my continuity of operations planning of my, weakest point of total collapse at the Department of Real Estate going forward. So that's some good news. We developed a newsletter. But as soon as we developed the newsletter, we received notice from the Department of Administration that we do a lot of shared services with because we're such a small agency. And we were told that SendGrid, the system that we use as our bulk emailer, was being replaced with something else. And so we held off on the send of it for this quarter, thinking, okay, well, we don't want to have our send get all messed up and not be reported and everything proper. So we've just received an update saying that we've got our old system for another 30 days. So we are going to go ahead and release our newsletter, our third quarter newsletter. And but it could be a little choppy because we know that they're playing with that technology and that contract and everything up at the Department of Administration. We are heavy into the budget cycle. The Department of Real Estate was budgeted exactly what we were budgeted in the previous fiscal year. In addition, there is a completely separate fund for our IT solution that sits at the Department of Administration. So that's called an APF fund, and there is also a lot of regulatory oversight and paperwork that will have to be done along each milestone of the IT project. But next steps in that IT project are really the procurement office finishing up our award and like who is the ultimate winner of the bidding process. And then an award is given to that company. Then we get to throw ourselves into the creation of a project investment justification. Then we go before the ITAC committee, which is legislators and judges and some other people to justify the expenditure of taxpayer dollars on this project. And that's also a heavy lift. I can tell you, we looked at the ability to outsource it because we don't really have somebody with project investment justification expertise, and they wanted $50,000. And I was like, to write a report? I'm in the wrong business. No, thank you. We will figure this out. So it's like almost like a full-time employee at the Department of Real Estate for a year. That's just crazy. And so we have to kind of complete that process. That committee, ITAC only meets on a quarterly basis. And so once we finish and we submit, they're going to have a calendar for submission, which we can't even really look at yet because we haven't awarded anything yet. So we haven't done, we're just not to that process. It's just such a very defined slotted process. But then we have that. And then if we pass through that, our understanding, we have to do some work with the general accounting office and creating the fund and all that stuff. But we should be ready for implementation. And from the awards that were there, we would be looking at somewhere between 9 to 12 months in the implementation and then the rollout of a new system. We're really excited to work with the industry because depending on which vendor is the winner, we want to do a lot of working sessions with people in the external side. We know very well what we want on the internal side, but we have brokers, we have designated brokers, we have office managers, we have all these different potential abilities to give people more ability to do things more expeditiously than the current systems that we have. And so we really want to see from the membership of the realtors and from commercial and from all around the real estate industry, what are the best tools? Because if our system has that ability, we'd like to build that out correctly the first time and sort of roll it out and not have to go back and try to fix it later. So we look forward to working with you guys, Erin, and hopefully getting some work groups together and just talking about, if there was this wonderful system and it could do all of this stuff, what would you want to be able to accomplish on your phone? What kind of things would you want to delegate to other people to be able to do? We had 6 demonstrations from those 14 vendors. So 6 of them kind of rose to where we said, come and give us a demonstration. That was also very long days. I think each vendor had 3 hours and each vendor took 3 hours to demonstrate what they had. It was 2 hours of demonstration and 1 hour of us doing question and answer with them. And we used all of the time. And so no matter what solution ends up winning this whole procurement process, we will have a lot of work to do with our stakeholders to just try and build the best thing for this entire industry. And we're committed to doing our very best work there. So other than being up to our eyeballs in the budgeting system, the procurement process, I think the next thing that we have going forward is legislative. They're probably going to very soon say, what does your agency want to submit legislative? I haven't made a complete decision on that, but I'm leaning toward the Department of Real Estate not asking to do any agency bills because, again, it takes a tremendous amount of our resources when we do that. And we have some very big projects that we need to get right for the real estate industry. So I'm not anticipating shy of, some kind of screaming need of the agency actually bringing forth proposals this year, given the other big projects that we need to see through. But, we look forward to being able to support potentially stakeholders that might want to bring something forward. So there's certainly things that have been brought up. We'll discuss those with various stakeholder groups. And if you guys want to pursue legislative things this year, we'll be happy to lend a hand and potentially even be able to sign it in support and stuff on some things. But I don't anticipate our department this year given the scope of the big projects trying to take on legislative changes as well. And rules, I should probably give you a quick little update on rules. So we finished our 60-day public comment period, which again was double the length of time that is required by law. And we held our 2 sessions where we discussed things with the public and opened it up for those comments. We sent our package over to the governor's office, and then for an agency, that's kind of it. It's like, that's not yours anymore. No touchy. Not more changes, nothing. And the governor's office did their due diligence. We did receive the official approval to proceed with rulemaking. We sent it over to GRC, Governor's Rule Review Council. Council came back and said, no, it needs to be formatted differently. So a big paragraph had to be separated into several smaller paragraphs with headers and particular fonts and particular indents, right, Rhea? Rhea loves formatting in the format because it matters. Like, if you think the font size and everything doesn't matter, you have not done the rules process. So in the effort of absolute efficiency, that's gone back and forth. We have resubmitted and we haven't heard from GRC yet, but we're very, very hopeful that GRC will put it on their calendar soon, and we can continue to keep moving forward. We did have a couple people that had asked us for copies of that once it was at the governor's office, and our initial understanding from the attorney that is over rule review at the Department of Administration was, once you pass this to the governor's office, you know, you as an agency, you stand down. You do nothing with it anymore. And we asked for clarification on that, and expeditiously, we just very, very recently got it. It was not a fast turnaround of that answer to that question, but they basically said we could still release our rules package, that that wasn't a violation of the rules process. And so I think we have a couple of requests that we'll be fulfilling today. So yeah, even though we're not on the GRC calendar yet, but we got the legal clarification that we are allowed to proceed and provide that again. So, and other than that, that's my recap in a fairly little nutshell.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Matt Cody has a question in the room.
Tricia, the 6 vendors that are, you know, you spent 3 hours, what is their product? They're rebuilding the website, or they're providing an app, or what is the service that they're
It's
buying
a
for?
licensing and case management system.
Okay.
It's everything. It's our database. It's how we process licenses. It's how we intake complaints, how we interface with consumers, how it's the external users, how licensees log in to hire people, sever people, how educators will, you know, interact with the Department of Real Estate.
So it's your kind of your IT system.
It's our whole everything. Yeah, our whole.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Aside from like our Gmail accounts, it's everything else pretty much. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions? All right. Who's next? Mandy?
Well, I really enjoyed listening to everybody's reports today, and it seems as though August brings the heat and problems out. And I just wanted to point out a few things happening in our investigation world that seem to be a repeating behavior. I need everyone to understand that we have no say in what someone agrees to in a contract. That's their right. We don't take away that right. However, sometimes people trust the licensee at their own detriment. And we've seen a lot of power of attorneys being signed at this time. Durable powers of attorney, not property specific. Even if it's property specific, we kind of have an issue. And they're not all classified as vulnerable adults. So we're running into situations where it's very worrisome that somebody's going to steal everything from out of somebody else because they say things such as, and now we just have to prove it in writing in the complaint, they said I had to sign this to list my home, right? But I think one of the big things that the brokerage community could really put out to the consumer base is watch what you're signing, and you're not required to sign a power of attorney. That's very, very alarming and concerning. And if you run across these situations, please encourage them to turn it into the Department of Real Estate. We can't go off hearsay, but we sure do dig deep to try to ask all the right questions to be able to get in front of a judge to stop predatory practices and the use of certain tools when it comes to real estate. It's just, I just don't know how, I don't know how it's being slid in there so well, because it's multiple times. Also, we did send out an email out of the 83,000 and some, and those stats will hopefully be on our website soon. Licensees, we sent out approximately 3,000 emails, which is not a big number when it comes to the overall. And those folks needed their legal presence updated for their licensing records. I am proud to say that our team got through every single submission and everyone's license was updated. How the system read the information, sometimes it wasn't that their legal presence was expired, it just needed to be input differently. And all those license records could be now corrected. And that way, when we move into the new system, eventually those license records will be good to go. And so really, really excited about that being completed.
We are working very hard to clean up our database for migration. So you may see industry emails coming out, and understand that it all ties together. Like, yes, we should have accurate licensing records, but it's that much more imperative as we go to migrate data that things are populated consistently in our system.
And then everyone likes to ask about the pre-license exam for salespeople. We have our psychometrician day scheduled for August 19th. That's where the psychometrician and some subject matter experts will get together and they'll weigh out all the items. We have approximately a bank that we own now of over 900 items that were created. And they're going to weigh it to create the new forms for the Arizona specific area of the exam. Really excited to see next phases, hoping to have that new curriculum out at the beginning of the fourth quarter. And those are all of my updates.
Thank you. Who else do we have? Anyone in staff reports or anyone else?
I think that's it. Andy runs all of operations these days, and yeah, so that's it.
All right, that was a quick one. Thank you. Next time, we'll move on to item number 5, call to the public. This is the time for the public to comment, bring any items they would like for the board to review for future agenda items. So anyone from the public that would like to speak? If you are in person, no one there, and online, Mr. Friedman, go ahead. I'll call you as an order.
Thank you. And I'm not sure if this is the right form, but I just wanted to share, I really love the new updates to the department website. One of the things that I was hoping that maybe we could incorporate is that public database into the consumer section or from the dropdown, because when somebody clicks on that, the only items that they really find are reporting disciplinary action or like buyer advisory, but there's nothing there that way. There's just that one tile on the homepage, and I thought that might be something that would be beneficial to the public.
Thank you. And yeah, this is a bright place to bring that up, so Mandy could go ahead and
fix it.
Take notes and reply if you like.
And Jacob, I just wanted to say thank you. Our person, his name's Jason Purdue. He worked tirelessly at that new website to become into compliance with ADA requirements due to the governor's initiative of Digital Dash. On top of that website, you're going to see that all the forms are updated as well, and they're all streamlined, and you can use keyword searches. So if you memorize, like I like to memorize law and contract line numbers, I don't know what's wrong with me. If you memorize form numbers, you can actually type in the form in the keyword search now, the form number you might have known, and it will go to the form that you knew as that form number. But the governor's office was very specific that they wanted everything named what it was with words. So Jason worked very, very, very hard, and we are now ADA compliance, which is some fancy thing, 2.2, which is the federal requirement.
AG 2.2 compliant up to 85%. Our goal is 100% compliance. So we will continually work to improve that metric.
And Jacob, we will fix that today.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
We won't fix that today because we can't.
Jason's not here.
But we will fix that tomorrow or the next day.
Oh, I thought Jason was here. I'm sorry, Jacob. Bye-bye.
All right. Anyone else from the public? I don't see any hands, icons, emojis, whatever you call on there. Anyone waving? Hearing none. Our next meeting is scheduled for November 5th, 2025. So hopefully that'll be after this hot summer heat wave that we're getting. And be careful out there. It's 116 today, supposedly here in Yuma. Probably Phoenix is 114. You guys have more trees than we do.
Okay.
Stay safe, stay hydrated, and see you guys in November. Meeting adjourned.